This is a bodyweight movement practice that is designed to support the days leading up to and during your bleed phase. So this is that premenstrual period and then your heaviest days of flow. That's the time in the cycle where we are shifting into protect mode. So we're looking to protect our body against inflammation, against resource depletion, and really just improve circulation. So gentle, low intensity movement is the goal here. So we have 10 different movement patterns, all body weight only, that we will complete in 3 rounds. So that's a total of 30 minutes. It's low intensity. It's gentle, but still invigorating enough that you'll get your blood flow going and you'll be able to tap the well of endorphins. Super important during this time in the cycle where our estrogen and progesterone levels dip. And with that, we see our hormones like serotonin also dip. So the feel-good hormones that can leave us with a little bit of a low mood. So this type of movement aims to kind of stir up that energy to help you feel better and more energized. I'll get our timer started and I'll walk you through the entire way. We'll go in about 20 seconds with our first movement pattern, which is a bear plank row. So we're coming down into hands and knees. You can take the shoulders over the wrists, the hips directly over the knees, tuck the toes under. We're coming into our bear plank position. So we hover the knees and then we'll row the alternate arms in 2, 1. So we take elbow to hip and back down. Draw the elbow to hip and release. Keep the low ribs and hip points drawing together. Shoulders and hips stay square the whole time. So as you bring that elbow back, try not to pop the hip or the shoulder open. So keep the torso nice and stable. You'll feel this in the legs and the belly as you're working to maintain that body position. And as always, deep belly breath. So in completely through the nose and exhale completely through the nose where possible or with a sigh as needed. We're switching in 2 and 1. We have 40-second intervals and 20 seconds of rest. So our next movement pattern is a kneeling hip thrust. So we come into a kneeling position, shins are pressing flat on the floor. And you can take your hands behind your head if that's comfortable. Otherwise, you can leave them down in front. We'll go in 2, 1. So we hinge the hips, bring hips to heels, and then drive the hip extension. So we keep the spine nice and tall without puffing the low ribs. And we drive that hip extension with a bit of power. So it's a hip hinge and extension. So imagine this more like bowing forward. So you're folding the body in half at the hip creases and squeezing through the legs to come up to the top. We're here for 10 more seconds. And then we're coming into a kneeling position for camel leans with a chest fly. And rest. 20 seconds to transition. I'll turn to the side so that you can see a little bit better here. Our camel leans, we're simply bracing the belly so we lift hip points and low ribs together, stretch up through the spine, and we are leaning back and then opening the chest. We'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Stretch it back, press through the tops of the feet as far as you can, and then open into a chest fly, squeeze the shoulder blades. We inhale back and come up. Try not to puff the low ribs or flare the low ribs. We come back and up. Keep the spine in a single axis, crown to tail the entire time. So we come back, the spine moves as a unit. We come up, it stays steady. So you're spreading all 10 toes onto the mat, really pressing through the tops of the feet here to stabilize and support that lean back. So this is core and leg focus here. We're resting now. Our next movement pattern is going to be a plank tap to a downward dog with a pike press. So I'll demonstrate that quickly here. We're starting in plank. We're tapping knee to opposite hand. So it's a tap and a tap. We come back to downward dog and pike push up. Let's begin. Come to plank, knee to opposite hand, knee to opposite hand. Again, try to keep hips and shoulders square. Come to downward dog, bend your elbows out to the sides, track along the spine with the crown of the head, bring it right between the thumbs. Come back to plank, tap and tap. downward dog, and pike press. So take the head directly between the thumbs. Try to move the spine in that single axis, in that same plane, down and up. This is shoulder focused. Knee tap, knee tap. You have to brace the belly, and downward dog, pike press. Slowly step the feet to hands, roll up to standing. We've got our rest period here, and then we're coming into a good morning with an arm sweep. So I'll demonstrate here. We take the hands behind the head. Again, we're hinging at the hips, and then we're sweeping the arms behind, squeezing the pinky side of the hands together. Let's begin. Hip hinge. The spine is nice and flat. Squeeze the pinky side together. Feel your triceps. Lift up to stand. Hinge at the hips. Spine is straight and strong. Squeeze the pinkies together and come up. So we dip down. We squeeze the arms behind you. Come back to center and up. Keep the weight shifting forward into the ball mounds of your feet, so you're not pulling on the top of the hamstring, but instead you're engaging the meaty part of the posterior chain. And drive up through the heels. Come down, reach, come back to center and up. Last one here, and rest. We're coming into an air squat with a lat pull down next. This one, we simply come down, reach the arms overhead, and then hug the elbows to the side. So we broaden across the chest. We squeeze the back without flaring the low ribs. Again, low ribs stay knitting towards the hip points. Let's begin. Squat it down, reach up and around, big squeeze. Take it up and back down. So we're circulating the shoulders here, moving through that full range of motion, all the way around and all the way down. Up and out. Reach and squat. Find that fluid rhythm. So try to take out some of the hard edges so that there's not really a beginning or an end point to each rep, but instead we have that fluid, dynamic pattern. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. We're coming into our split squat next. I'm going to start with my non-dominant leg, left foot forward, right foot back. Nice short stance so that when you come down to hover, you have 90-degree bends in both knees. For this first round, we're taking the arms out in front. As we come down, we're reaching the elbows behind. We take it up and then reach. Let's begin. Take it down, reach out, shoulders directly over the hips the whole time. So again, we're targeting the back here. Reaching and out. Elbows behind you, they stay level with the shoulders the whole time. So there's some level of activation in the arms just to hold that horizontal position. So you should feel the chest, the biceps working, and also the upper back. Take it down and up, down and up. We're here for just 5 more seconds, and then we're going to come all the way down into that half kneeling position. Bring it down, reach the arms out, and we're simply rotating open and close. If you want to add a little bit more power, you can come down to your back hip and sweep it open. So depending on your energy levels, what you're looking for from this practice, you might be here in the rotation or a wood chop. So we take it back and up, sweep it back and up. Again, your other option is simply opening and closing. More of a soothing movement, less activating, just focusing on the rotation. If you want that added power, we take it back. Imagine you were holding a weight and taking it across the body. Here we go. You're holding that lunge position, that split squat position. You're pressing into the back shin to stabilize. And we're hugging the legs energetically to the center. 2 and 1. Slowly come back up, switch sides. So we take the opposite leg forward. This time in our split squat, we're adding a front raise. So we'll simply take the arms up and back down. Up and then power down. So imagine like you're resisting or you're moving your arms through water. Let's begin. Now we take it up and press the arms back, up and back. Find that power. Try to mirror the movement of the arms and legs, and then map that movement onto the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, exhale. Find that forceful exhale through pursed lips. That'll help you connect to the belly as you press the arms back. Shoulders stay floating over the ribs, and then ribs over the hips. Try not to lean forward or back. Last 5 seconds here. Up and back and rest. Take that back knee down. Again, you have the same option here to either twist open in more of that low intensity kind of soothing twist, or you can be going across the body, creating that rotation. And again, envisioning and engaging as if you were moving through resistance. Let's begin. Take it up and twist. Find that power in rotation. So we're engaging the obliques, working the mobility in the spine, leveraging how the bones of your spine can move independently. So we can move the upper body and the lower body independently. That helps create more freedom in the spine, can alleviate tension and even back pain. We've got about 10 more seconds here in our first round, and then we're starting at the top with round 2. Last 3, 2, and 1. Lost my timer there. We'll fix that. And we're coming into our bear plank row. So find your steady bear plank position. Shoulders are over the wrists, hips are directly over the knees. Tuck the toes under, get ready to hover the knees in 3, 2, and 1. Hover the knees, and it's a row. Take elbow towards the hip and back down. Elbow to hip and back down. Feel the balance, the recruiting of the belly to maintain your body position. So try not to let the hips hike up or down. You want to stay steady the entire time and really engage the back as you row. And breathe. Feel some energy to the midline, so you're squeezing the inner thighs energetically together. Even though they might not move any closer together, you have that activation. Legs are parallel and strong. Last 3, 2, and 1. Coming to our upright kneeling position. Shins are pressing down on the mat. We have our kneeling hip thrust. So again, your hand position can be wherever's most comfortable for you. I'm going to take my hands behind my head to help broaden the shoulders apart. And we're moving in 3, 2, 1. Hinge at the hips, tap hips to heels, and drive it up. Back to vertical. We hinge and extend. Keep the head pressing into the hands to help elongate the spine, to help keep your upper back nice and spacious so that it's not rounding in. And then drive with the glutes on the way up. You should feel your posterior chain. So the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, working to lift your body up. And also find that stopping point, so that barrier when your thighs are vertical, so you're not thrusting the hips forward and compressing the low back. Let's rest. We're coming into our camel leans next. So again, you're pressing the shins like crazy into the mat. Tops of the feet are anchored down, toes are spreading. That will help you lean back and keep the spine straight. Know that you can have a little lean, or it can be a bigger lean. Here we go. Reach the arms forward, lean back as far as you can, and chest fly. Open it up. Lean back, squeeze the arms together, and open the chest without flaring the ribs. Reach it back, keep the spine steady, and open. So again, your lean might be here, wherever you need to be to keep the spine straight without collapsing in the lower back. This one engages your quads, engages the low belly. You should start to feel it the lower you go. You're pressing through the shins to stabilize, spreading the toes, and come up. Our next pattern is the plank with knee taps to our downward dog pike push-up. So when you're ready, start preparing for plank. And again, here we're keeping the shoulders and hips square. So as you tap the knees, try to keep that body position stable. 3, 2, and 1. Tap one knee and then the other. Head back to downward dog. Take the crown of your head directly between your thumbs. Elbows can come out to the sides. Shoulder focus in that pike push-up. Come back to downward dog. Keep the spine in one line as you lower down and back up. Again, with that push-up, you don't have to bring the crown of the head all the way to the floor. It might be a tiny bend and extend. Come forward into plank, knee tap, and knee tap. Reach it back, pike push-up. Here we go. Come forward, tap the knee, come back and push up, rest. Slowly transition to standing, coming into our hip hinge with that sweep of the arms. So as you sweep the arms back, we're bringing the pinky side of the hand together to engage the triceps. This is body weight movement, but it is strength work. So with mind-muscle connection, you can get there. Let's take the arms behind the head, hip hinge, sweep the arms back, squeeze the triceps, come back through center and up. Keep the belly braced, hinge at the hips, squeeze, and back up. So folding the body in half, finding that horizontal plane with the torso and coming up. Stay elongated, so space between the bones of the spine. Fluid breath in and out through the nose. Notice if you've lost track of the breath. I know sometimes that happens for me, especially when guiding a practice. So we come back to it, in and out through the nose, breathing deeply. Come up and rest. Back to our air squat with that lat pull down. So toes are turning slightly out, heels are slightly in. We have a neutral curvature of the spine, so gentle curl of the tail toward the inner heels. And we begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Squat it down, reach up, hug the elbows to the sides, nice and tall at the top. Squat, reach up, come around, up and back. So we find this big circle in the arms, really rinsing the shoulders, looking for any stuck points that we can breathe through, that we can increase blood flow to. This is a great practice in between strength training, or maybe kind of at the end of your strength training days in the early luteal phase as you're transitioning into premenstrual territory, just to kind of promote that circulation, rest, and flow. Our next movement, we're coming into the split squat series. So we take one foot in front, one foot in back. Again, we're starting with the arms straight out, bringing the elbows right back behind you. So we stretch the chest and then press. 3, 2, 1. Take it down. Press forward. So try to engage the chest as you reach forward. Imagine like a chest press, like you're trying to squeeze the thumbs together. Reach it back and squeeze. So elbow squeeze, thumb squeeze. Reach and extend. Connect to your breath. If you notice that your breath is getting a little bit too elevated, maybe you're having to breathe primarily through the mouth, you can slow the pace down. So we're aiming to keep this in that low intensity zone. So maybe 50% to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Rest. Come down into that full half kneeling position. So what that looks like is you can carry on a conversation. You're not gasping for air. You're breathing slow and steady, but it is slightly elevated. So it's that steady state, low intensity zone. Let's begin with our rotation here. Take it up and to the side. Reach and drive. Take it back and twist. Either there or you're here. Whichever feels best in your body. You can even alternate side to side. Get a little bit of both. So you choose where you're wanting to focus the movement here, and then use your breath. We take it back and rotate. 10 more seconds here, and then we're switching sides. Take it back and reach. Find that drive from the back hip and rest. Slowly switch sides. Coming into our split squat on the other side. This time again, we are coming down, reaching the arms overhead, and then pressing back like crazy. Imagine you're lowering a weight, or you're moving your body through water, moving your arms through water. Here we go. 2, 1. Squat it down. Press back. Squat and down. Lower. Press. Find that sweep with straight, strong arms. to activate mind muscle connection, using your breath the whole time. Take it up and back, down and up. We're almost through round 2, and then we have just one more round of each movement. This type of movement practice I love because you can customize it to suit your needs. So based on the time that you have or your energy level, 2, 1, rest. You can always do 1 round of each movement. You can do 2 rounds or get the full practice at 3. So our next movement, we're rotating, coming up in just over 5 seconds here. Get your body ready. Press that back shin down. 2, 1. Let's rotate up and back. Take it up and across, back. This type of body weight movement is also great in the luteal phase for stabilizing blood sugar. So it's that low intensity. It's not going to give us the cortisol spike that we might see with a heavy strength training day, but it keeps us in more of that low intensity zone. And that can help create an energy draw on our blood sugar. So it's great to use this one after meals. You can maybe just move through 1 round, have a 10-minute practice to help draw your blood sugar down. Rest, come up. Or to mitigate the insulin resistance that can happen in the luteal phase. So we tend to have higher blood sugar levels. So this type of movement can help improve your insulin sensitivity so that you have more stability in the luteal phase. Bear plank rows coming up in 2, 1. Hover the knees. We row. Take the elbow to the hip. Row it back and down. Row and down. So shoulders are level. Hips are level. They're not hiking up or down. As best as you can, keep the spine flat in that same plane the entire time. Spread the toes, press through the ball mounds of the feet, hug energetically to the midline like you're magnetizing the big toes together. You'll feel your legs start to fire up right away. We're here for just 5 more seconds. Reach it back and come down. We're coming into that camel lean. Our hip thrust, kneeling hip thrust is first. So we press the shins into the mat. You can get your arms into position behind your head. It's a hip hinge with that extension. Press your head into your hands. We'll go in 2, 1. Let's begin. Take it back. Press up, back, and lift the hips. You might start to feel the heat by round 3. I know I'm starting to sweat just a little bit. So in the luteal phase, it takes us a little bit longer to break a sweat. With our elevated temperature and less efficient cooling, your body has to get hotter before you start to sweat. So you might notice that in this type of practice, that your body maybe is just now starting to get to that cooling mode to break a sweat. Last 2 and 1. Now for our camel leans. So pressing down through all 10 toes, spreading the toes wide, pressing down through the shins. So you have that firm base of support. Curl your hip bones and low ribs together. Lift up through the chest. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1. Sweep the arms, lean back. Open the chest as you come up. Sweep it back and open. Take the palms facing forward. Reach back and extend. So press through those shins to lift you up. Find that point, your intuitive edge, and press. If you feel any knee strain at all, make this a very small lean back and forth. So we're engaging the quads here, the hip flexors, strengthening the front side of the legs. 3, 2, and 1. Coming into our plank taps to downward dog pike. So coming into plank, we'll tap one knee and then the other, and then we come into that pike press. In the pike press, you're moving the elbows out to the side to lower the crown right between the thumbs. Again, it can be just a tiny bend and extend if need be. Coming into plank, let's begin. Tap the knee, tap the knee. So you have to brace the belly to stabilize there. Take the crown to the thumbs and back up. Come into plank, tap and tap. Try not to let the torso twist. Coming to downward dog and pike press. Roll it forward, tap the knee, stabilize in that tripod position as you move one hand and then the other. So as I get tired, the hips want to twist and rotate. So requires that added bit of core stabilization to keep them square. Bring it back and slowly step the feet to the hands, roll up bone by bone to standing, coming into our hip hinge with that arm sweep. So again, you can do it standing just to get a feel for the sensation. Pinky side of the hand squeezing behind you. Let's bring hands to the back of the head. Broaden across the chest, hip points to low ribs. Let's begin. Hinge at the hips. Squeeze the pinky side of the hand. Come back and up. Hip hinge, squeeze, back and up. So we're shifting the weight forward into the ball mounds of the feet while still anchoring the heels. So we can drive through the heels while having that forward momentum to keep the hips in alignment with the ankles. We don't want the hips to come too far behind because that can pull on the hamstrings. Reach and come back up. Almost there. Squeeze the pinky side and come up. 2, 1, rest. Squat with a lat pull down is next. Then we have our split squat series, and you will have completed this workout. So resting here, give a little movement, get into position for your squat. So toes are turned out, heels are turned in. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Squat it down, reach up, take the elbows by your sides, all the way down and around. So really feel that shoulder mobility as you circle up and around. Breathing here. So as we come down, kind of the final minutes of this workout, you might start to slow the pace just to let this operate as a bit of a cool down. The movement is gentle enough that we didn't really need to warm up or cool down. But if you're starting to feel the duration, you're starting to feel the work, you might start to slow it down and guide your body back and rest. We're coming into our split squat series. So you have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're working the swimmer. So arms are forward, then we squeeze them back. Squeeze through the chest to come forward, and then squeeze the elbows to come back. Let's begin in 2, 1. Squeeze it back. Chest, back, and chest. So feel those antagonist muscles of the chest and upper back working as a partnership. So one contracts when one lengthens, and then you switch. So you broaden the upper back as you reach the arms forward and engage the chest. And then we broaden the chest as we tone and engage the upper back. We're here for just 10 more seconds. Forward and back. Keep the belly braced. So hip points, low ribs, drawing together. And rest. Bring that back knee down, coming into our rotation. Again, you have the option of the wood chop, which is a little more high intensity, or you can simply twist open in that T rotation and close. We're going in 5 seconds here. Get ready. Press through that back shin. Squeeze the inner thighs. Let's begin. Take it up and twist. Either way, either direction. Keep the spine nice and tall and engage the obliques. So feel that as you alternate sides. So even if you're twisting here, derive it from the obliques. So you're engaging the muscles of your trunk, the rivers of the spine to help rotate. Take it up and back. We're almost there. Up and back. Sweep and rotate. Find that strength, find that rhythm through your breath. 2 and 1. You might start to feel that back leg because it's stabilizing the entire time. Coming into our second side of the split squat, so switch legs. Again, here we have the front press and sweep it back, nice and powerful. And find that boundary point because it's going to take muscle engagement to stop you there. Here we go, reach it up and back. Breathe in and out, in and out. Find that rhythm. Keep the shoulders softening away from the ears. So this is full body movement. So it is creating that energy demand, but without being overly activating. So you won't find kind of that steep cortisol spike. That is a positive stress. Exercise can be a positive stress, but in premenstrual territory, we're looking to stay low intensity. We don't want to add to that internal stress. Bring that back knee down. Get ready for rotation. This is our final exercise of this practice. Let's make it the best interval yet. Press down through the back shin. Engage the legs by hugging to the midline. Get ready to rotate in 3, 2, and 1. Sweep it up and back. We twist and back. Shoulders directly over the hips, so we're not leaning forward or leaning back. Nice and steady, nice and strong. Final round here of this practice. 30 minutes of body weight work to send you on your way, feeling a little bit of an elevated mood, hopefully, maybe a little bit energized, and with so much left in the tank. So this workout, not depleting, it's not fighting for resources, it's designed to replenish and rest. Slowly rise up to stand, shake out the legs, maybe give a bit of a rotate, side to side, pivoting on the back toes. And let's join together in a huge breath in. So sweep the arms up, inhale. And sigh it out, exhale. That completes your 30-minute body weight practice for today. Hopefully you're feeling like it wasn't too depleting and that you have a lot left in the tank for the rest of your day, the rest of your cycle. So this is that really critical time where any investments we make, any conscious energetic shifts that we make are paying it forward to the next cycle. So you're making investments in the luteal phase, in the late luteal phase specifically, to improve your next cycle, to promote more balance, to reduce inflammation, and to give you a better experience overall. So thank you for joining me for this practice, for being here, and for letting your body be moved.